Welcome back, everybody, to the Prescribed Truth Podcast. I'm Jamal Bandy, the host that seeks to distribute the truth that the doctor prescribes to the church and the world today, also a part of the Christian podcast community. If you'd like to contact me, you could do so by emailing me at prescribed.truth@gmail.com or calling me at 801-980-6333. I want to first off just say it is so good to be back once again with you guys. I took last week off, had to handle some family things, and so I'm just really glad to be back with you now. And so for those of you who still stuck by and was listening to some older podcasts of mine, I really appreciate it. Maybe next time I'll think about uploading an older episode or something like that, just to kind of give a filler for a week that I may take off. But I am thankful to be back once again. If you'd like to support this ministry financially, you can do so by joining me on Patreon at patreon.com/prescribed truth. For only just $1 or more a month, you can help support this podcast as it streams to different platforms, and also the YouTube channel and the website, which is prescribedtruth.com. That goes into helping all of those things. And so these podcasts are sponsored by my patrons. I'm so thankful for that. So patrons, I'm thankful for you. Thank you for your support. On today's show, I want to talk about this controversy around Amber Guyger and Brandt Jean. The hug heard, or should I say felt, across the world. The reason why so many people on the social justice side of things are having a cow because a professed Christian decided to forgive a remorseful individual for a sin that they done. Now, when I say that a sin that they've done, I don't say that to belittle what was actually happened or what actually happened. But that's what it was. It was a sin. Amber Guyger sinned. She killed someone, murdered someone. As the court ruled it, it was murder. She came through that apartment door with the intent to kill. The only thing is that she believed, as she says, that it was her apartment. After working a 14-hour shift and being stressed out from work as being a police officer would do, she comes to what she thinks is her apartment, thinks someone is inside her apartment, and goes in ready to kill the threat, as she admitted. But Brandt Jean, a year after his brother's murder, is willing to forgive her while she is sorrowful and remorseful for what she's done, realizing she's made a mistake. Now, I realize that all of this hinges on the fact of, if you believe that Amber Guyger was being honest in her telling of the story, that she really believed that she was entering her own apartment. I mean, whatever was distracting her, that she would miss the red carpet, that she would go inside and notice that none of the furniture was hers, none of the things that was out there was hers. All she knew in her mind was that there was somebody in my apartment, and she just had tunnel vision while going through the door. I mean, that's if you give into the story. And I don't mean give into the story as if she's told a lie. We have no evidence of it being a lie, you know. But it does raise questions, as this is the reason why they went to a trial. And so, regardless of what you think about how the story played out and everything else, the fact of the matter is, she stood on trial. She received a sentencing, so she was found guilty. And the brother of Brandt Jean chose to forgive her. And not only that, wanted to show that he forgave her. He wanted to go beyond to actually show and demonstrate that he truly forgives her by offering to hug his brother's killer. Now, guys, that's big. That is so big. So big. And what I am so shocked and appalled at is that there are professed Christians, Jamar Tisby being one, Kyle J. Howard being another, and plenty other black Christians, professed Christians, who was angry, I tell you, at this display of love and compassion and mercy and grace. It's as if they've never experienced this grace before, as if they never experienced mercy before. Yes, she deserves hatred because she killed the wrong person. She killed a person in his own home. Yes, she may deserve hatred. She may deserve punishment and everything else. But so do we. We deserve hell. We do. And the fact that we don't get what we deserve is mercy. Mercy. And then the fact that the Lord grants sinners salvation is grace. Grace. Unmerited favor. We didn't deserve it. We didn't earn it. But he gives it. So he showed her grace and he had mercy on her, had compassion. That's beautiful. We should be praising that, not being angry. I can understand the atheists and the uproar and the agnostics and the secular world, the humanist world being in outrage at such a show of affection, a show of love of God, but not Christians. Man, have we come this far in this social justice issue that as Christians, we can't even acknowledge true Christian behavior and ethics? For Jamar Tisby and false teachers like Jamal Bryant to say that the hugging is because of slave conditioning. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Slave conditioning? Who taught Brandt Jean to be conditioned as a slave? Are you accusing his mother of raising him to pander to white people just because? You accusing his father of doing the same? Wow. Wow, man. And then on top of that, the judge, oh man, the audacity of this judge. Who does she think she is to be a judge? And after the ruling and after the sentencing, show mercy and compassion on Amber. How dare she? How dare she give her a Bible and pray with her, pray for her, and encourage her to come to Christ, to repent and believe in the gospel? Who do she think she is? She definitely need to lose her license. She definitely need to be taken off the bench. I mean, you can't get no worse than that. You can't get no more foul than that. Who are we? I mean, come on, man. Christians talking about we need to have more Christians in these places of power so they can have influence and all that stuff like that. But when you have a display of someone showing that influence, oh, but it's because it's a black person showing it to a white person. That's why. That's the problem. Come on, man. We can't be this disingenuous. That's what it is. We can't be this cold that a basic show of godly affection and compassion is swept off as being slave conditioning. That's bogus. That is so bogus. And I'm so thankful for people like A.D. Robles, for Cross Politic and Dr. James White and everyone else who speaks against these idiotic ideals, man. People from Stop and Think About It, everybody from the Christian podcast community. Like this stuff is crazy. So thankful for brothers and sisters speaking out against this ideology, man. I never thought that it would be a day come that when a case like this comes, that black Christians, I can expect this from the world, like secular black people. I can sort of expect that. But from black Christians who say they love Jesus more than anything else, right, are upset that Christ was glorified even in this situation. Yes, the woman killed a man in his own apartment. Yes. She has an explanation as to why it happened. Yes. Do we believe the explanation? Maybe not. Was she served justice? Yes. But people still cried injustice. Why? Why? And I'll tell you why. Because the narrative of racial injustice sounds so much better than dealing with the fact that, hey, you know what? We may just deal with the flawed justice system, and we live in a broken world where nothing will be perfect, where we may not have perfect justice on earth, but there will be a perfect justice come with Christ. That's just the case. It's just racial injustice sounds so much better than all of that extra stuff. I mean, that's just what it boils down to. I mean, where was the racial injustice? Where was it? Was it in the fact that there was a black judge? Oh, but it's slave conditioning. That's why the black judge, gets a pass. Like, we can't say it's not racial injustice because it was a black judge because of slave conditioning. Wow. Then, is it because the jury? I mean, from Edwin from The Proverbial Life, and I would encourage you to check his podcast out, The Proverbial Life. Like, he talks about how there was 5 black people and 5 Hispanic jurors and 2 white jurors. That makes up the 12 for the jury. That's what consisted of the jury. The whites were in a stunning minority. Only 2 out of 12. Go figure. And then this jury decides the case. Not the judge, not some other white man, the jury. Now, unless you're going to believe that all the jury members were influenced by white supremacy and slave conditioning, that they saw fit to not only rule her guilty, but sentence her to 10 years, where some people wish she should have gotten more. And I give you my personal opinion. I think she should have gotten more time. My personal opinion, yes. She murdered someone, someone who wrongly accused. If it's true about what they say concerning the narrative that Brandt Jean was sitting on his couch or sitting in a chair when she came in, what burglar would do that? Like, that should have raised a question. He's sitting comfortably in my house. What's up with that? I mentioned on my YouTube live stream earlier, it's like the Martin Lawrence sitcom series, for any of you who may be familiar, where it was this character named Bruh Man. Not Brother Man, but Bruh Man. You got to say it like that. Bruh Man. And Martin would come home sometimes, and Bruh Man just be sitting at the counter, eating a bowl of cereal or eating a sandwich. Yes, I said sandwich, not sandwich, because that's what Bruh Man called it. He said, I'm just sitting here eating a sandwich. And Martin be like, Bruh Man, what you doing, man? No, I'm just walking by, man. I got a little hungry, and I thought I'd come in and get me a sandwich. I mean, like, if this is really your apartment, why would there be a man sitting down eating ice cream? There should have been a red flag or something, like a yellow flag or caution, to say, you know what, something's not right about this scene. Like, why is this person not trying to hurry up and be out my place before I show up? If this really a burglar, somebody trying to rob me, but if you're pumped with adrenaline, especially if you're outside, you think this is your apartment and you're outside pumped up with adrenaline and you rush in, I can see how you can make a mistake like that, especially when everything moves so fast and you don't notice what's going on around you. And that's also why I can imagine the shock she must have felt, realizing that this isn't my apartment and I just shot this man in his own place. y'all say conspiracy, but I wonder, y'all, if it was such a conspiracy. I mean, there's so many things she could have did differently that would have made it more believable for it to be a conspiracy. I mean, let's think about this for a moment. If she's such a racist, which there were some tweets of hers that would supposedly make her come out to be some undercover racist. But if she was a racist and she hated black people, black men especially, why choose the random apartment? What was special about this apartment to choose that one? The one that would happen to be unlocked. There was no forced entry. What would be the reason? You know what I'm saying? And then she was off duty. Like, it would seem to me, if she was that hateful against black people, especially she lived in the same apartment complex, the smart thing for her to do then is not to commit the crime in her own apartment complex, right? Don't matter if it's a floor down or a floor above. Why would she do it in her own apartment complex? It would make more sense that she would be on duty, pull over a black man, make up some wacky story about him trying to attack her, and that she fired back in self-defense. That would be more believable. That would mean a conspiracy. That would show forth a conspiracy. But see, the information that we have in this incident don't give us anything conclusive to say, hey, this is conspiracy. Like, she meant to kill him. Like, she really wanted to kill Botham. And I'm sorry, guys. I know some of you who may listen to this may really disagree with me. May get just vehemently mad at me for saying this and giving her the benefit of the doubt. But come on now. If this was anyone else, take away the fact that she was a white woman. Take away the fact that she's a white woman and Botham was a black man. Make it a Hispanic woman and an Asian man. Make it a white man and a Asian woman. You know what I'm saying? Like, would you still say racial injustice? Would the Asians be trying to get at the whites? Would the Hispanics try to get at the Asians? That's what happened? Or is it possible that she could not have been in her right state of mind, having worked a long hour shift that way? And look at how many days that week she worked and everything else, like, just really tired. I mean, look, guys, I don't do drugs and I don't drink alcohol like that or any of that kind of stuff. And there have been times where I'm riding down the road and sometimes I forget where I'm supposed to go. You know, I mean, it happens. It means I'm tired and I know my schedule and I do nowhere near the type of work police officers do, but I'm tired and I know when I'm exhausted. Sometimes my wife will tell me something and a few minutes later I forget it because I'm tired. I'm exhausted. I need rest. It happens, man. Our minds are very complex things, guys. God created it. He didn't create it easy to figure out either. It's complex. So it's not above the realm of possibility that she could have been telling the truth. Of course, it can raise some questions, but guys, no case has ever been solved on speculation. On speculation. There's no evidence of the otherwise. So it's the only thing that can stand. And I've heard people say that it's crazy that she got 10 years. And there was this one guy, I'm kind of going in and out, guys, just bear with me. But there was this one man who served 36 years for stealing $50 out of a store. And here this woman, she kills a man, a black man, in his home. And she only gets 10. And I tell people, it's easy to look at a meme and cry injustice. But when you actually look at the facts, guys, put your emotions aside and look at the facts. There is no racial injustice here. Even with the guy, the gentleman who spent 36 years in prison, guess what? He was supposed to spend life. He was supposed to spend a life sentence without the possibility of parole. Why? Because the context of this situation was this man, he was arrested in 1986, if I'm not mistaken. And by this time, he had committed 3 other offenses where he broke in someone's home and stole things, and one time armed with a weapon. 3 other offenses. And the law at the time was that on your 4th offense, that the judge had to sentence him to life. And I think this was an Alabama law. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, if you are familiar with the story. Alabama law back in 1980s. On the 4th offense, the judge had no choice but to give him a life sentence. All right. But that law was ratified in the 2000s, and therefore it left it open for that case to be retried. And no attorney took that case. I mean, it's 2019. That was done in the 2000s. So what took so long for an attorney to take on that case? Nobody wanted it. And that gentleman, he's not the only one who's done that, who has that issue where back then the laws were different and now they've changed. All it takes is somebody to care enough to retry the case. But in the case of this man who stole $50 and was serving a life sentence, there was a white judge who saw the case and took interest in it. There are lawyers who testify that he went above and beyond because he didn't have to do that. But it was a white judge looking out for that black man who served down 36 years for $50. And he said, that don't make no sense. Let's get that man out of there. And he did. And now he's out. The man now is 58 years old, but at least he has the rest of his life ahead of him. And it's sad that he had to spend 36 years in prison for $50. But that's the way the laws work, guys. That's the law. That wasn't a law to keep the black man down. It was a law to keep criminals. I mean, you have people who commit crimes. The law is what it is. When you commit a crime like that gentleman did, when he was younger and he broke in those people's houses, you telling me he didn't know he was wrong? Yeah, he knew he was wrong. Did he not know the law? Yeah, he knew the law, but he still did it. He still did it. You know, so the same thing here. When it came to Amber Guyger, they had a choice between manslaughter and murder. Manslaughter would have been a little less because it would entail that someone was killed by accident. But the jury had no choice but to rule it murder, so that she was guilty of murder, Amber Guyger, because she admitted that being outside of the apartment door, that whoever was on the inside of her apartment, her alleged apartment, they're gonna die. She admitted to it. I plan to kill whatever on the inside. So therefore the jury had no choice but to rule it murder. So she was guilty of murder. The next thing was they had to decide on how long she should spend in prison. Now, this is why I say, guys, this situation, this case is not dealing with racial injustice. It's not dealing with racial injustice. She was tried by a jury of her peers. The judge did not give the ruling. This was by jury. And once again, like I said earlier, unless you're going to try to claim that the jury was somehow corrupt, man, good luck with trying to prove that. But unless you're going to believe that, then you got to deal with the facts. You got to deal with the facts. This was not racial injustice. This was justice according to the system. It was just according to the system. All right, the laws that were in place. Because of the crime she committed, because of the murder sentence, they had a span between 5 and 99 years for what she's done. That was a span. They could have made it 99 years if they wanted to. They could have made it 5 years if they wanted to. They chose 10. And people were outraged. But they say, people out there saying no justice, no peace. Justice was served. It may not be what you want to happen, but it was justice. She's going behind bars. She's going to prison. And according to the trial, she was remorseful for what happened. So this means she's going to live with this for the rest of her life, guys. If she truly made a mistake, if she truly thought that was her apartment and realized that she killed an innocent man, she got to live with that for the rest of her life. That guilt. Y'all, you know, saying like, come on, man. I can understand why Brandt Jean had compassion on her. I can understand. He said he waited a whole year just to hear I'm sorry. A whole year. And he finally heard it. He was satisfied. So we should be too. I mean, you got people who are being outraged who aren't even related to them. And you got people like Jamar Tisby talking about, well, just because he showed forgiveness don't mean we sleeping on the fact that there's racial injustice and all that kind of stuff like that. Paraphrasing him. But that's basically what he's saying. Like, that is so dumb. Where's the racial injustice here? All you had was a white woman who happened to do the crime against a black man. And we automatically cry racial injustice no matter what the context is. It's like we don't care about truth no more. It's sad, man. It's truly sad. I want to encourage believers. I want to encourage Christians, true born-again Christians. Believe the gospel. Remind yourself of what the gospel is. All right? And if someone shows remorse and seeks repentance, then we should be ready and willing to forgive and understand what forgiveness means. Forgiveness doesn't necessarily mean that we'll forget, but it means we don't hold it against them. Yo, if Brandt really understood the fact, and I hope he does understand what he's saying when he's saying he forgave her, because that means he should not ever hold this against her again, ever. She's going to prison. She's going to do her time. Like, he should be able to welcome her with open arms going forward. But he also said that he hoped that she wouldn't do no jail time. Like, he wanted her to go free. Yo, man. Yo, his compassion level is out the roof, guys. Some of y'all could learn from him. Some of y'all actually could. We all could learn something from him. I don't necessarily agree that she should go scot-free, but we could learn something for that level of compassion, that he had compassion on her. He had mercy on her. Imagine if he was to judge. He would have ruled her innocent. Yo, man. But look at this, guys. If you got a problem with that, listen to this. We're all guilty. We're all guilty of our crimes that we've committed against the holy and righteous God. We're guilty. But when the Father sees us, those of us who are in Christ, when he sees us, he's going to see us as innocent, not guilty. Woo. Man, this should make y'all so happy, man. The Father of all eternity is going to see us as not guilty because of the righteousness given to us by Christ. Nothing we gained on our own, but was given to us freely. And this is why Jesus says that we shall forgive others as our Father in heaven has forgiven us. Because if we don't forgive others, we should not expect the Father to forgive us of our trespasses and sins. I know this has been a long conversation, but I hope this has been helpful to someone out there who may be dealing with this situation and struggling with the concept of what's going on. I really do hope it helps you. I really hope it helps you. If you'd like to talk more about it, my phone line is open, 801-980-6333. You can email me at prescribe.truth@gmail.com. And I would love to talk with you. Even if you disagree, I would love to have a conversation with you. These things are important. Praise God for the love of God being shown in the courtroom. Thank God for the gospel being proclaimed in a courtroom, whether it be for Amber Guyger or for any other listener. I'm thankful for that. God was glorified. So remember, this world is full of errors, but the only thing that the doctor prescribes is truth. Blessings.